Hello, my name is Andrew, you can call me Cookies, and today we are taking a look at each of the boss encounters within the Spires of Ascension dungeon and figuring out how to play them as a healer. Kintara is the first boss within the instance, sharing health with her companion Azulus. Kintara will occasionally hit the tank with Overhead Slash, which deals a massive amount of damage, so use externals and be prepared to help the tank be ready for each hit. When Dark Lance is not interrupted, be sure to dispel players affected by the debuff and heal the players who you cannot dispel right away. The only other mechanics to be mindful of as a healer is Charged Spear, which occurs when Kintara is flying above the encounter space. This ability will target a random player and deal a moderate amount of damage to them and any other nearby players, so just be sure that they are topped off before the hit and they will survive it just fine. Moving on to Ventinx, the next boss in this dungeon, who will occasionally target a random player with Dark Stride, dashing to them and applying a physical damage dot which deals a moderate amount of damage every second for 20 seconds. You will have moments in this fight where two players are affected by Dark Stride, so be sure to stay ahead of the damage and avoid falling behind. Other than this, the rest of the fight is avoidable mechanics, so put a majority of your focus into handling Dark Stride, and you should have an easy time helping your group move on to the next boss. Oriffrion is the third boss. In this fight, you'll want to keep an eye on the tank during Charge Stomp, dispel the debuff as soon as you can, and be sure to heal players who are targeted by Purifying Blast, which deals a heavy amount of damage when the cast is finished, and will continue to deal moderate damage to the player over the next 12 seconds. Aside from these abilities, when the boss runs out of energy, coalesced anima orbs will form around the room and begin moving towards the boss. These need to be intercepted by players and deal a moderate amount of damage when soaked. Keep in mind that players who soak these orbs will continue to take light ticking damage that stacks over the next 10 seconds, so healing cooldowns should typically be used here during this portion of the fight. The final boss within the Spires of Ascension is Deus, Paragon of Doubt. During this fight, stand within the Archon's Bastion when the boss casts Abyssal Detonation, which will deal lethal damage to any players caught outside of the barrier, and a moderate amount of damage to those within the barrier. Two random players will occasionally be inflicted by Lost Confidence, which is a dispellable debuff. When dispelled, it leaves behind a pool which needs to be avoided for a majority of the fight, so try to dispel players when they are towards the edge of the room, but don't hesitate too long on dispelling players if they aren't in the most optimal position, as the debuff does deal a moderate amount of ticking damage every 3 seconds. Other than this, during the intermission of the encounter, or when the player steps into the pool left behind by Lost Confidence, players will gain a stacking debuff called Lingering Doubt. You'll want to dispel these as frequently as possible, but be sure to prioritize players with higher stacks of the debuff, as it deals more damage the longer it is active on a player without being dispelled. And that covers all the bosses within the Spires of Ascension. Like the video if you found it useful, and let me know which boss is your favorite to heal within the dungeon. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.